Now.
Good morning. This meeting of the Agricultural Labor Relations Board is called to order. I will call the roll. Board Member Broad.
Here.
Board Member Flores.
Present.
Board Member Hall.
Present.
Board Member Lightstone.
Present.
Thank you. Also present from our staff for today's meeting is our Executive Secretary, Mr. Santiago Avila Gomez, who is providing technical support. We are living in rapidly changing times, and the board is committed to taking the steps necessary to protect the health and safety, not only of our own staff, but of the public. Thus, in accordance with Executive Order N-122, today's meeting is being held via video conference with an option for members of the public to dial in. Prior to going into closed session, we will provide an opportunity for public comment on any portion of the meeting. Members of the public who have contacted the board, either by email or phone, and asked to be placed in the public comment queue will be called on in the order received. If you did not previously contact the board and wish to make a public comment at the end of the meeting, you may do so in one of several ways. You can make a request in the Zoom chat function or raise hand, or email Santiago Avila Gomez to be placed in the queue for public comment. Please note, we ask that you use the chat feature only to indicate that you wish to make a comment. Substantive comments in the chat will not be made part of the public record. We ask that you also provide your name and organization if applicable. This information will become a part of the official record of today's proceedings. If you wish to speak more than once, please alert the staff and have your name placed back in the queue if you are able. If you have technical difficulties when you're called up, please reach out to us via the Zoom chat function or email, and we will come back to you. We do have limited capabilities to manage participation during the meeting and during the public comment periods. So we're asking everyone who is not speaking to place their phones or Zoom on mute and wait to unmute until you are called to speak. You can also see these instructions on our agenda, which is posted online at alrb.ca.gov, which is located on the ALRB homepage under News and Information. And with that, we'll proceed to our first agenda item, which is approval of the public meeting minutes and the regional director meeting minutes from February 22nd, 2022, and the public meeting minutes from March 9th, 2022. And I believe there was a late correction that corrected a minor typo on the March 9th minutes, noting it was Wednesday and not Tuesday. May I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Thank you, Member Broad. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Member Hall. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Motion passes and the minutes are approved. Next is the chair's report. I have a brief report today. I'm pleased to share that last week I had the opportunity to attend the California Farm Bureau Federation's legislative reception and had a wonderful time discussing issues with them and how we could partner in the future to provide education and help ensure that their members understand how the Act works and their obligations under the Act, in an effort to put forth a strategy that I think is best for all, where we don't get into situations where there may be confusion or violations and people are able to operate effectively and smoothly. So excited to work with them in the future on that and appreciated the opportunity to speak to them and hear about their issues. Additionally, I want to note that next Thursday is Cesar Chavez Day, March 31st, and it is a unique California holiday that has a special place in the heart of the ALRB as it honors a great Californian, an amazing farm worker, Cesar Chavez, who was really instrumental, if not really in some ways, the founder of our board. And so I want to take a moment to acknowledge that and share my appreciation and recognize his great work. And with that, that concludes the chair's report. And we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the executive officer's report on elections, unfair labor practice complaints, and hearings from our executive secretary, Mr. Avila Gomez.
Good morning, Chair and members of the board. Since our last meeting 2 weeks ago, there have been no standalone complaints issued. However, there have been consolidated complaint specification and Premier Raspberries that was filed yesterday, March 22nd. There was a specification filed on March 16th in Trifanuki Farms. And sorry, I failed to mention that while I give this summary report, the report itself is available at our website under the meetings tab. Continuing with the post-complaint settlements, Primetime Packing, LLC, and I'm not mentioning case names, but I'm happy to, I'm sorry, case numbers. So let me return that. Actually, Premier Raspberries, the consolidated complaint specification, case number 2019 CE048 SAL. Trifanuki Farms, the specification filed on March 16th, this case numbers 2013 CE008 VIS and 2013 CE014 VIS. And the post-complaint settlement is in Primetime Packing LLC, case number 2019 CE017 VIS, and the parties entered into a informal bilateral settlement agreement on March 9th. There have been no ALJ decisions. However, a hearing concluded in the Sonoma Cho LLC doing business as Floraterra, case number 2022 RC001 SAL, involving the challenge ballots that the board set for hearing. That concluded on March 9th. And the decision is due on Monday, May 9th. Continuing onto the board decisions, administrative orders, and pending matters. There were no decisions or admin orders issued by the board. However, there's one pending matter involving Cinnabro Farms, Inc., and that case number is 2017 CE008 SAL. That concludes the report. As I mentioned, it is available at our website under the meetings tab, as well as other reports. And I'm happy to answer any questions.
Okay, thank you, Santiago. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay, all right. Next is the litigation report with our Chief Board Counsel, Todd Ratchin. Todd?
Good morning. There are no litigation updates since the last public meeting to report.
Okay, thank you, Todd. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay, great. Next is agenda item number 6, the General Counsel's report with General Counsel Montgomery.
Good morning, everyone. Not many updates since 2 weeks ago, but I just wanted to give a few highlights of the Worker Week of Action that our staff in the General Counsel program participated in. The week before, or part of last week, and also the week before last. And this was a joint effort together with the Labor Workforce Development Agency, the Department of Industrial Relations, including Cal OSHA and the Labor Commissioner, and also the National Labor Relations Board participated. And we held outreach presentations and trainings and community events throughout the state. Over 30,000 workers were reached during this week. There were over 175 separate outreach activities, 5 regional caravans, and 61 community-based organizations also participated. And there was a fair amount of media coverage as well. So it was very exciting to be a part of this. 2 weeks ago, I outlined about 14 different events that our staff was participating in for this week of action. So just a shout out, and again, a thank you to the General Counsel staff for covering these events. And of course, Chair Hasid also participated in one of those events. And then our outreach coordinator, Daniela Ramirez, deserves special recognition for all of her work in organizing and coordinating it on behalf of the ALRB. So we were really happy to have this opportunity to collaborate with our sister departments and other organizations to help get information out to farm workers statewide. Upcoming in the next week or so, we have also a training that our staff is conducting for the West Modesto Community Collaborative, which is a nonprofit in the Modesto area. And so yeah, we'll be training their staff on the Agricultural Labor Relations Act and what the ALRB does. And then we're also going to participate in a Farm Worker Appreciation Day, which is being held in Arvin on April 2nd. And we will have staff there to give a short presentation, and then we'll be giving out information and doing outreach at that event. Additionally, for the general counsel program, I'll just let everybody know we did hire an attorney. We had since the last meeting, we have an attorney who started in our Santa Rosa office. We are still looking to hire 2 training and community engagement specialists for our outreach project. We have 2 Visalia attorney positions available that will be posted there, or one of them is posted. I believe the other one will be posted very soon. We also have a vacancy for a field examiner in Salinas, a legal secretary in Oxnard, and we have senior legal typist positions, which are secretarial office support positions for Salinas and Santa Rosa. And then, of course, finally, we are still looking to fill our regional director position in Visalia. So we appreciate everyone helping to spread the word for those positions. And a couple of those that I mentioned should be posted very soon. I don't know that they're all up on our website currently, but please keep an eye out. And with that, I think that concludes my report for now, and I'm happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much, Julie. That's great. And thank you to all the staff. It was kind of an unprecedented amount of events across the state that our staff participated in, and it was really impressive. So I just want to thank everyone for taking the time to do that. Do any of my colleagues have any questions or comments for the General Counsel? Okay, great. Thank you. I'm sorry, what? Okay. All right, next is agenda item number 7, which is the Division of Administration Services report with our Chief Administration, Brian Doherty. Brian?
Good morning. Just have a brief update on our Salinas office renovation project. Admin staff have been working closely with both the Department of General Services, Facilities, and Real Estate Office, along with the general contractor responsible for the renovations. And we have an updated timeline for that project. The renovation project itself will begin effective April 1st. And we've negotiated about a 4-week timeframe for the renovations that need to occur in that office with the general contractor. During that period, for the month of April, the Salinas office itself will be closed, and signage will be posted to direct any public comment or contact to a phone number so that staff can remotely address any issues or concerns that are raised while that office is closed. And during that time, we will ensure that we get all the construction done, which includes a larger conference room that will allow to accommodate any hearings and meetings that are needed in the Salinas region, as well as additional cabling and wiring that will increase the bandwidth for the IT support in that office as well. With that, I think that's the only update I have. I'm happy to answer any questions anybody may have.
Thank you, Brian. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay. Next is agenda item number 8, the legislative report with our Chief Board Counsel, Todd Ratchin. Todd?
Hi, I have a report that is available on the website. Not much to report since the last meeting. The one, I guess, notable item is Senate Bill 1248, which had proposed as originally drafted technical changes to Section 1152 has since been amended to no longer involve the Agricultural Labor Relations Act. And so that bill won't appear in future reports.
Okay. Do any of my colleagues have any questions? Okay, thank you. Next is agenda item number 9, regulations. Do we have an update from the regulatory subcommittee?
There really isn't an update because since the board decided to move forward, we're now in the stage where staff is preparing the initial statement of reasons and all the documents that go along with the formal promulgation of rules.
Okay. Do we have an update on sharing the data? The monthly report of the data that the general counsel's office?
Yeah, we have drafted a report form, which we've shared with the general counsel. But we haven't met yet to discuss it.
Okay, if we could ensure that there's an update at our next meeting on the data, I'd like that on a monthly basis. I think that's part of our ongoing efforts, just to see how it's going. Okay, any other questions or comments from my colleagues on that? Okay, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 10, the personnel report. The board has no personnel items to report, so I will move on to agenda item number 11, which is public comment. Please be advised that the board is unable to adjudicate, comment, or resolve any pending case matter before the board. I will ask our executive secretary, Santiago Avila Gomez, to first go through the queue and then open it up. If you have technical difficulties or miss your turn, we'll work to come back to you. Please remember to be on mute unless you are speaking. If you require translation, please advise us. Okay, and now we'll open up to public comment. Santiago, do we have anyone in the queue?
No one has indicated a desire to comment. However, we do have members of the public in the Zoom meeting. I'll ask them to indicate by chat or by raising their hand if they wish to make a comment at this time.
Okay, we'll give that a moment.
Does not appear we have anyone wanting to make a comment at this time.
Okay, thank you. Our next agenda item is item number 12, which is the closed session. The board will gavel into closed session and then return for announcements and adjournment. With that, we will now gavel into the closed session and come back.
They were on.
Everyone's admitted.
Okay, thank you so much. The board is now returning from closed session.
And just note, I'm sorry, Chair Hasid, I want to note that board member Hall has not joined yet.
Okay. I think we'll still continue, just in light of the announcements. So our next meeting will be Wednesday, April 6th at 10 a.m. here in Sacramento. Please note that due to the expiration of Governor Newsom's executive order at the end of March, we will still be able to Zoom our meetings. All board members will need to be present in a physical location open to the public, unless I understand there may be some legislation to change that, but until and if that passes, that will be our practice going forward to the pre-pandemic policy under Bagley-Keene. And with that, I will now adjourn the meeting. Thank you. Goodbye.